A federal judge has issued a significant order blocking a Trump administration policy that aimed to restrict the promotion of what it termed gender ideology in educational and public health settings, often by threatening to withhold federal funding. This ruling specifically targets executive actions that sought to compel federal grant recipients, such as those in teen pregnancy prevention programs, to adhere to a narrow binary definition of sex and cease all activities perceived as promoting gender diversity or inclusion. Analysis. Reasons and legal basis. The judge's decision to issue a preliminary injunction was not solely based on the policy's ideological content, but critically on legal procedural grounds and the arbitrary nature of the administrative action. Reasons for the policy. The administration's stated goals. The administration framed its executive orders and subsequent agency guidance as necessary to protect parental rights and ensure transparency regarding sensitive topics taught in schools, defend women's rights in single-sex spaces, like bathrooms and sports, by asserting that sex is an immutable biological classification defined at conception, end the use of taxpayer dollars to fund content that allegedly constitutes radical indoctrination or promotes gender ideology. Legal reasoning for the block, the court's view. The court's primary reasoning for blocking the policy centered on three major legal deficiencies. Arbitrary and capricious. The judge found the policy change to be motivated solely by political concerns, devoid of any considered process or analysis, and ignorant of the statutory emphasis on evidence-based programming. This suggests the policy change violated the Administrative Procedure Act, APA, which requires federal agencies to justify their rule changes with rational and factual bases, not just political preference. Unconstitutional vagueness. The vague and broad definition of gender ideology and the unclear directives on compliance risked First Amendment violations by chilling protected speech and academic freedom among grant recipients and educators. Organizations were left unable to determine precisely how to comply without self-censoring or eliminating essential programs. Abuse of executive authority. By attempting to condition or withhold congressionally appropriated funds based on ideological compliance, the administration was arguably exceeding the scope of the president's constitutional authority and usurping the legislative power of Congress. Consequences and impact. Immediate consequences. Preservation of funding. Schools and nonprofit organizations, including public health and family planning groups, are temporarily protected from losing federal grant money for having gender-inclusive policies or curriculum. Continuation of programs. Programs aimed at gender-affirming care, comprehensive sex education, and DEI initiatives can continue without the fear of immediate financial penalty from the federal government. Upholding free speech. The ruling reinforces the principle that the government cannot use funding to compel adherence to a specific political or social ideology, particularly when it impacts the academic and expressive freedom of educators and students. Broader societal impact. Stability for transgender youth. The injunction provides a crucial reprieve and sense of stability for transgender and gender nonconforming students, their families, and the healthcare providers and school staff who support them. Chilling effect reversed. It pushes back against the chilling effect that had already caused some Department of Defense schools and other institutions to remove books, alter curricula, and cease supporting LGBTQ+ students out of fear of losing federal funds. Prediction and potential solutions. Prediction. The immediate legal action is a preliminary injunction, meaning the policy is blocked while the full lawsuit proceeds. The administration will likely appeal the injunction, prolonging the legal battle. Furthermore, this is part of a wave of litigation against a broad set of executive orders targeting DEI, race, and gender. The ultimate resolution may depend on the final ruling in the lower courts, focusing on the APA and constitutional claims. Potential future review by the Supreme Court, which has yet to definitively rule on whether Title IX protections against sex-based discrimination extend to gender identity in all contexts, such as single-sex spaces. The political landscape, as a change in administration could lead to the policy being rescinded or replaced with alternative guidance. Potential solutions. To move beyond the cycle of executive orders and judicial battles, lasting solutions could involve congressional legislation Congress could pass clear, specific legislation to define the terms sex and gender identity under federal civil rights laws like Title IX. This would provide legal clarity and prevent the executive branch from unilaterally redefining those terms based on political ideology. Evidence-based policymaking. Agencies like the Department of Education and HHS should be required to root their policies in pedagogical research, medical best practices, and data on student well-being, rather than ideological mandates, thereby satisfying the requirements of the APA. School-level compromises. Local school districts can implement solutions that balance parental rights with student inclusion, such as creating single-stall, all-gender restrooms to accommodate privacy concerns, while maintaining sex-segregated facilities. Clear policies on curriculum transparency can inform parents without resorting to mandatory outing of LGBTQ+ students, which can violate their privacy and safety.